hello, Meryl. Hi, how are you doing today?
Doing great. How about you?
Yeah, doing good as well. Welcome everyone to this podcast where we are hosting Meryl Dindin from France and who is building his startup based in Santa Monica called Hello Polygon. Meryl, would you like to talk more about Hello Polygon, what it does, and the problem it is solving?
Sure. Polygon is a startup here based in Santa Monica. That's a small human-sized team working on providing learning difference teleassessments. And so learning difference here would usually people refer to as dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia, ADHD, autism spectrum. And we just solve many of the pain points in the industry. Would it be in terms of accessibility, affordability, and just like a gold standard the test can be administered. So we just somewhat fixes this reproducibility crisis in psychology as of today. Yeah.
Great. And what was your moment when when this idea stuck to you, Meryl? Would you like to give a bit of background?
Yeah. So we were two co-founders, Jack and I, work in Polygon. We met at Berkeley a few years ago. Initially, the idea came more from Jack perspective, given that he was diagnosed with dyslexia after university, which is a pretty fucked up moment, if I may, given that you go through academia for a long time and then realize that you were struggling on some matters for reasons that were out of control. But ultimately, the thing we're trying to do with Polygon is to really make sure that people understand that this is a concept of strength and weaknesses, and this is not just about disability, and that they're dyslexic self-made millionaires everywhere. Steve Jobs was dyslexic, Einstein was dyslexic, Michael Phelps has ADHD. So that's the kind of thing you want to understand, that you can harness some perspectives from the condition itself. On my side, is more related to the neuroscience and neurodegenerative diseases. I graduated in France in computer science, as well as a bachelor at the med school, concurrently with that master. Then worked a few service projects for medical devices, specifically at Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and then just realized that neuroscience and neurodegeneration is a big thing. Turns out the test we use in learning difference is the same that we use in neurodegeneration. So that's how I fell in love with the field. I'm more of the data tech wizard guy in the company. But yeah, that's how it all came together at Berkeley once we met with Jack and he exposed the story and just resonated a lot with this.
Cool, Meryl. And would you like to tell about the scale of your operations currently, like what size your company is in, and like what aspect of the journey your company is in right now, today in 2022 and 23?
Yeah. So as of today, I think we're 3 psychologists inside the company, which gives us the ability to provide services for around 10 clients a week. Where we are at right now, we're at the scale phase. So we're past seed and pre-series A. So that's where we orient ourselves. And yeah, in terms of scales right now, we're operating in 2 states, California and Florida. And the plan is to grow in 32 more states within the next 6 months.
Okay. I know you had some roots in California with the Berkeley education. So California was first choice. Any reason for Florida as the second choice of your operation?
Choice. Well, there were legal constraints we had to bypass, and Florida turns out is easier than the others. Then the Florida is also very excited about the field of neurodiversity, in the sense that they do provide a lot of backup for families who have children with unique abilities. So they have grants, the systems, and they're way more receptive to the concept, strength of weaknesses, personalized education, testing oneself. Versus in California, you're more in a world where people believe, let's say, have seen everything and are the experts in the field. So it's harder to come with the develop props and say, okay, we're doing it better, more predictable, like it's gonna go faster. You're not gonna have to pay 12K. You're not gonna have to wait for 10 months. But yeah, given that there are a lot of established psychologists here acting more of a Wild West strategy, California is a tougher market than Florida. And there are other nice states in the United States where they also have a lot of incentives for families to help the child thrive by understanding the strengths and weaknesses.
Okay, great. So Meryl, we'd like to move more towards the technology side of the company. So, as a health tech founder, how do you see the technology roadmap for your company in 2023? What are your top priorities as a in the terms of technology aspects of the product?
Yeah, well, tech-wise, we were lucky enough to be able to build a product from scratch. Everything has been built in-house. There's no code, and it's fully controlled stack. Now, obviously, right now it comes with pros and cons. We have full customization of the stack, but right now in terms of scale, it becomes also a very nice, interesting problem. How do you scale to 1,000 people? Do you scale to 1 million requests? How do you achieve that in a timely manner that's super robust? So right now, I'd say the two main top priorities are scale and robustness, so performance tracking, like all the good stuff that comes on top of technology, the logs and so forth. But also at the same time, not compromising on security. So that's the big thing. We evolve in an industry that's very healthcare focused, sensitive data. It comes with the data of very different people across the scale of time of everyone's development, childhood, family, and so forth. So that has to be secured, and we have to abide by COPA, we have to abide by HIPAA, and SOC 2, and so forth. So this is like the kind of big targets we have, just making sure we are gold standard on like soda on this perspective, and at the same time grow and scale with opening loopholes.
Right. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty much in line with what I have from many other healthcare founders as well. Like security, in fact, is one of the biggest theme, I'd say, like for everyone right now, because one, there's just so much data right now. So what happens after collecting so much data? I think the biggest risk is data in that sense. So yeah, okay. So Meryl, tell me more about, like as a technology founder, a technology company founder, what were the challenges for you, while building the platform?
Yeah, so there are many in-house problems. Can't talk about all of them, but ultimately the challenge is mostly ramping up a whole team to understand specific tech stacks. So for instance, tech stack here, Polygon, as we use Vue, why don't you use React as a big conversation? Scale in-house real-time services, microservices. So there are a lot of, in terms of the problems we have had to rethink the way. So like basically we have had to create something from scratch. Would it be a text editor? Would it be a calendar solution? Would it be payment solution? Would it be onboarding solution, form solution to make it compliant with our standards and our customs? The way we did solve it is just we have a best-in-class team, which is what it is. It took a bit of time, and that's for sure, aside from outsourcing. We did outsource at the very beginning, would it be in terms of design or in terms of website implementation at the very least, but did end up not being as great as I was expecting, so just reverted to in-house for most of it.
Okay. And you had a full-time CTO in the team?
I am the full-time CTO.
Okay. Great. Because earlier you mentioned you were more taking care of the data, so that's why I asked if there was another person as the CTO.
Well, it's both. I'm taking care of the legal, the finance, the data, the tech, the HR. So
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Story of any founder.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can connect. Great. Okay. So, Meryl, in terms of technology advancement, was there a trigger that led to this idea being built now as compared to, say, 5 years back? Or was it just, was there an accumulation of such technology advancement, or was it just a matter of timing for you?
That's a good question. Turns out it's kind of both, in the sense that legally right now we're in a different system than we used to be. So we're a telehealth company. Turns out you could not administer learning difference tests via telehealth in the past, and COVID changed that. COVID changed the regulations, changed the scale, changed the state's boundaries, and so forth. So that's a huge moment to be in for all industries. And then on the other side, tech-wise, Well, there's a lot of things we do with data. So we have internal projects that's specific to machine learning and that we could not have achieved in the past. Like the quality of speech to text, for instance, is not something we had 5 years ago. So right now we have the ability to merge speech to text and NLP to really have something that we can use internally. Similarly for report generation or whatever. Yeah, in terms of the rest of the tech stack, obviously there's a lot of those frameworks that have evolved and matured. So like JavaScript frameworks for front end, and like if you want to do server-side rendering or pre-rendering, just to make it more efficient, SEO optimizing type of stuff. So yeah, tech-wise, I don't believe we could have done it in 5 years ago, but we would have had to evolve the entire thing with time and to get as efficient as we are today. But ultimately, it's more of a regulations timeline.
Okay, great. And Meryl, what is the biggest technology theme that you see, for 2023 for health tech and healthcare founders?
Well, the big thing I'm following because of my background is AI integration into the workloads of healthcare companies. So the big theme is how to harness AI. So like right now, like for instance, yesterday, 2 days ago, they just released the DaVinci 3. It's like crazy generative text. How do you use that for like giving recommendations or like generating reports or that type of stuff in healthcare? You also need to train this very specific data schemas, like make sure that the like cleanup of the data engineering is a big team in healthcare. Cross access to EHR has always been a big thing, so I don't expect it to reduce over time. But ultimately, yeah, it comes with how do you harness this AI, and at the same time, how do you secure your data lakes? So this big conversation, which is the same problem I'm having right now, is figure out the compliance of the data lakes and how to use it, like how to anonymize, how to seed it, or to extract it from in a fashion that is legally compliant and useful to the business.
Right. Even data mesh is a concept that is coming up. Have you checked that one out? Like even
Data
beyond,
mesh. Yeah.
yeah, data mesh is a new concept. Yeah, which we
Yeah.
have been also hearing as a theme. Great. So that would be all for today, Meryl. But thank you so much. And this was really very informative. And for any healthcare founder, I think, especially on the tech side, this is very, very useful. And, as all of us make plans for 2023. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much, Aish. It was a pleasure.
Okay.